Welcome to Pole Hook Golf, the podcast, hosted by Matt Cook and Mike Perez. Once again, we start off the show with Steel Panther, giving them a shout out for our intro. And then on today's episode, so we're into round 2 now. So we're veterans at this point. We've done one episode. We are locked in for episode number 2. We've got our drinks. We're going to be a little bit unfiltered. Not a little bit. We're unfiltered. I mean, you and I, we don't really have a filter. Myself, mainly, my excuse has always been I'm from New York. And yours, I don't quite know.
That's all you need to say. You're from New York.
That's it.
It's like a pass.
Exactly.
It's like the golden rule.
You know, we ended the last episode on Phil Mickelson and the new tour, the Live Invitational Tour, and we were kind of begging Greg Norman for a spot on there, and I still am. It's gonna be a public service announcement once again. Greg, if you're listening, which most likely you're not yet, but maybe in the future you will be, feel free to hit up myself and Mikey, and we're happy to play on your Live Invitational Tour. And
I'm very happy to play on that tour.
Very happy. I mean, not that we deserve it or anything. I feel like we could be a lot of fun and very entertaining, and there might be a few curse words, which.
Pretty much what you want.
I think so. I think it's an entertainment tour.
And if he needs to get through us, he can go through Elkington, who was one of my guys, still is. So if he needs to go through us, he can get through Elk.
Exactly. Yeah, if you don't have my contact information.
But
Well, we're going to talk about Phil and obviously the drama that's going on with the Masters, but we're also going to jump into the Matchplay, the WGC Matchplay tournament that's going on now. So obviously this is a recording a week prior. So we're recording on March 23rd. 2022, and with that said, we will end up getting to the point to where this is a live broadcast and that we're up to date with the tournament that's taking place. But also, as we're still getting our footing and so forth, we want to make sure we have the ability to throw in a couple edits if necessary. Last week, I mean, everybody knows from episode 1, we did not edit that episode whatsoever. I mean, it was 2 hours, and for an intro, we had no idea. By the time we finished, we're like, wait a second, how long was it? What time is it?
2 hours and 10 minutes, wasn't it?
It was 2 hours and 10 minutes, something like that, yeah.
Good for us.
Right? So, sorry, audience, for if we bored you at all. But also we're going to be talking about, so going beyond the WGC Matchplay, unfortunately our guest tonight is unable to make it. We're going to give Benji Weatherley a quick shout out. Mike, if you want to mention anything there.
Yes, I would. Benji has been a great friend of mine for a long time. He's played in every tournament that I've asked him to play in with me. He's caddied for me. He's caddied for Adam Scott back in the day. One of the best servers in the world, just kind of flies under the radar. He's got his own podcast called Let's Potty, Poddy.
Great name. I feel like we have a great name, Pole Hook Golf. Yeah. But from one great podcast name to another,
he's amazing.
That's a pretty good one.
But he also has a show called Drive Through, where he follows bands around like Donovan Frankenreiter, which was awesome, and you can subscribe to his deal. But the most important part is that his father is having some difficulties with the cancer that he's been battling, and he let me know today what's going on, and I said, brother, no worries. All of our prayers and love go to the Weatherleys.
Shout out to you. Our prayers are with you 100%.
Yeah, so unfortunately we couldn't have Benji on, but Benji's such a good dude, and he's got such a big heart, and he's going to do what's right, and
he'll be on, and you know what? We'll be on his show as well as a reciprocal. I mean, we're happy to come on and do that as well. Obviously,
that's
in the podcasting community,
that's what
we are happy to support and obviously help promote as well. But also, in addition to what's going on with Benji, we've got a feel-good story coming from David Leadbetter and the whole Ukrainian situation. I feel like there hasn't been enough press around it, so we really want to make sure that there's a spotlight put on this situation and just how great of a guy David Leadbetter really is and what he's doing not only for the sport but for individuals within the sport as well.
That's right. David and I, we spoke today, and I asked him if I could have permission to speak about this because I heard about it, and it's been a few weeks. And I met David Leadbetter at the American Cancer Society event in San Diego at La Jolla Country Club. And, of course, I haven't seen him in years, but we've known each other. I never worked with him, but we worked that day. And so not only does he participate in these events, coming from Florida to help the American Cancer Society event, he took in a kid.
Hang on! Don't give up too much yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
we'll get to that towards the end.
Okay.
I know you're excited about it. I'm excited to hear the story too.
I think it's great, and
I think it's phenomenal. And obviously, you've got a personal tie-in with David, and hopefully we'll have him on an upcoming episode as well to talk more about it as well. But we'll save that to the end because we've also got another feel-good story coming up with somebody close to you, who happens to be your father, Mr.
Correct.
Tony Perez, and what he's doing with Operation Game On. We're going to talk about that as he's got an event coming up at the beginning of April, and we definitely want to give that a shout out as well. Absolutely. But let's dive right into the Phil Mickelson Masters scenario.
Giddy up.
Mikey, what is going on?
What is going on? I mean, when is the last time? I mean, there's two questions to ask. Who's saying he can't play? Has decided not to play? Is there something going on here? I mean, what is he banned? Is he not banned?
Hopefully by now, everybody who is not living under a rock knows, because this is coming out a week from now, that Phil Mickelson is not in the Masters, and he has withdrawn. Now, sources are saying.
He withdrew?
No, well, hang on a second.
Okay.
That's the official, right?
Sure.
Now, that's the official. We know how the tour works. And also the Masters. I mean, the Masters, no, keep in mind, I mean, I'm never going to say anything bad about the Masters because, my God, they are a classy organization. Yes, they do everything right by my, like, that's the one tournament that, if there's ever...
Couth.
What?
They have couth.
What is couth?
Couth?
This
Something
is a new
we don't
word
have.
for me. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Something we don't have is couth.
I've never heard that word before in my life.
Show some couth.
Wow. I like it. Listen,
really?
I'm always up for some new vocab.
You're the smart one on this show.
Well, I mean, my God, I've never heard of couth. And I'm going to look it up after this and see if it's an Urban Dictionary word or if it's actually a real word.
My dog Sevy told it to me the other day. Show
That's
some
fair.
couth.
Yeah.
You know? I was taking him out. You've never heard couth?
No.
Hey, show some couth. Hey.
Oh, is it an Italian thing? Some couth?
Hell if I know.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Well,
I can't believe you haven't. Yeah, so couth. Got no couth.
Never heard that word in my life. Well, and I'm not giving you a hard time. I've never heard it before. Like,
interesting. I stumped him, ladies and gentlemen. I stumped him.
You got me because I'm sitting here going,
I've choked bigger than you, Johnny.
What the hell were we talking about? And to get my mind off of the Masters? Anyways, the Masters can do no wrong.
About the Masters, about how they have class.
They can do no wrong, in my opinion. I mean, it's the greatest golf tournament on the face of the planet. And with the Masters, like, I've heard some stories. We know some stories about... some certain things that have gone on that, like, just kind of show the power behind the Masters in particular. Now, Phil Mickelson, we don't know if he's technically on the Dustin Johnson hiatus or if he is. I know that story. So, I mean, I'll get into that one. I mean, Dustin Johnson, by far, everybody in the golf industry knows he was suspended. He was 100% suspended. And, well, I can't say 100% because it's always hearsay. Because the tour never comes out and actually announces it, right? They never announce anything. And I think that's good to some degree so that there's not a lot of media and publicity around it. But, like, you got somebody like a Dustin Johnson or you got somebody like a Phil Mickelson, people are going to talk and they're going to assume, but not only that, but the inside circles.
That's what Rory McIlroy's fight. That's what he said last week. I think a week and a half ago, he goes, we need to let people know what's going on and not hide it. This is from McIlroy.
Well, we live in a day and age. Yeah, but we live in a day and age of social media. Yeah, everything gets out. Everything gets out.
Yeah.
I love social media.
Well, I do too.
No. It's
You're
got
teaching me everything about this. I
it-
haven't been on social media in years, and here I am on social media, and I'm like asking you, how do I do this? How do I do that? I don't know what to do. I'm going to drive you crazy.
That's an entire episode, by the way, that at some point we will get to. It's down the road.
What are you teaching a 5-year-old how to
Stay
work
tuned, because my God, hopefully we get into a studio soon, because obviously the remote setup. I'm not going to go into it.
Guys, I could say it's been it's something so easy, and I could set up amps with pedals and
Yeah,
all
you're a
this stuff.
musician. Like,
I
what are you
know.
doing struggling with any type of microphone technology, getting your sound to work,
This
having your
Zoom
headset
stuff.
work?
This Zoom stuff.
Telling me that you need your headset plugged in to charge, and I'm like, it's hardwired, Mikey. It's hardwired. Oh,
I thought we
gosh.
were doing, I know. That's why.
I hope people enjoy the little side conversations that come as we're trying to get through a topic of
I know.
Phil
All
Mickelson
the
at the
time.
Masters.
We can't even do it. We're so pathetic. I love us. I love us.
The Phil Mickelson Masters scenario. Now, what is your thought? Do you think? I heard that too.
Is
Did that come
your
from
house?
your? No,
Not
definitely
my,
not.
Well, I'm surprised
Wow.
not from my neighborhood.
Okay, well, neither of us
Good
really know
microphones.
because it came through the microphone.
It's got to be yours. Maybe it's mine. My place sucks. The black hole.
So, another public service announcement. Please donate to the podcast so Mikey can move out of his spot. No,
Thank you. That would be, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a great
yeah.
course, by the way. Our
Yeah, it's
backdrop
right,
is
right,
great.
right behind us. So, give a quick shout out to Chiricahua up at Desert Mountain. And actually, as I
Place is so great.
sit up into my chair here, you're going to see the Desert Mountain logo.
I like it better with the unbuttoned too. That way
Yeah.
you look like you know who.
Oh my God! So last week I
you had
had
to
the
for the
button all
skull.
the way up. I had to for the skull. It was for the
Yeah.
style. I don't wear my shirts like that normally, but only like certain shirts like that. Don't do it, please.
No.
Now, talking about going back to the Masters and the whole Phil Mickelson situation. This is why, by the way, we also can't get clips for social
Correct,
media
correct.
because we jump around a little bit around the different topics. We just have a blast with this. I hope everybody just
That's the whole
enjoys
point.
kind of hearing the banter back and forth and kind of jumping in and out of topics. But when
the whole point.
we talk about the Masters, I don't think it was the Masters. I think Phil's been suspended since the entire thing. And I
Absolutely.
think my entire perception as looking from the outside in and just knowing the inner workings a bit is that the PGA Tour pressured everybody. and they really wanted to make an example of Phil. Like, they know he's at the end of his career, and if they can make an example of Phil Mickelson, won the Masters 3 times.
All right.
Multiple major champion winner. He won
Oldest
the
winner
Open
to win
champion.
PGA.
Exactly. And last year.
Last
so it's
year.
relevant, right?
Yeah.
But they know he's at the end of he
that
was
ego?
he was a
Is that
cash
ego?
cow. I don't know if it's ego. It's more so of showing the power. And this is what for lack of a better term, a totalitarian does, right?
Yeah.
They sit there and they have to show their power. They have to show, don't mess with me because I'm at the top of this pyramid. That don't mess with me because I will put you in your place. I will get rid of you. And in my opinion, that's what has happened to Phil Mickelson
yeah.
is that the power and the pressure has been put on not only on the sponsors. And that's the crazy thing is the
just
PGA
sucks.
Tour. Like, how are you nervous when you're putting pressure on sponsors and so? Like, if I'm accurate, which I don't know, by the way, I would throw it up as at a coin toss whether or not I'm being accurate with this or not. But it's just that's where my mind goes when I hear about all this stuff happening with Phil, and now all of a sudden the Masters. And I get it, like the way the media is reporting it is that. With the Masters, they just didn't want the circus that was going to come with Phil. But I just don't see, I don't know.
Journalist dream. This is the door's wide open. Let's get to the bottom of this. Why can't they just? Is there why can't we just get to the bottom of it? Why, like Rory McIlroy said, let's say what's going on. What is really the problem? What caused this?
I wish we could.
What can we do to fix it?
So when it comes to the fact that he has been canceled, or not canceled.
So is that the new?
That.
Is that the new saying? What does this cancel culture actually mean? I'm so confused. I don't understand.
Golf
what
Pros.
it means.
I think I mentioned this last week. Golf Pros NYC. I had our social media team put out a post that basically had Phil Mickelson, an image of him in big red letters, canceled, and everybody went nuts on it in terms of like the polarization of it. Like there was both sides, by the way. No, he wasn't canceled. No,
Canceled though.
Hate this cancel culture. The whole thing is that this whole cancel culture comes from a factor that major media can't control certain things and certain issues. Now, when all of a sudden it does, and it creates a narrative and the mass population within social media, because that's where social media thrives, within the mass population, right? So, I mean, listen, a media outlet can take 10, think about this. Think about this realistically. If a media outlet runs with 10 tweets and they read each tweet off to you, now there could be 10,000 tweets, right? So 10,000 responses to something. But if that media outlet reads off 10 that they've handpicked, what are you going to think? You're going to think every single person within that thread is thinking the exact same way. So that's how cancel culture works. And as that all takes place, well, it sucks within media because it hurts guys like you and I to where, now granted, we're just starting out within our podcast world, but let's say that we've got big time sponsors that are sponsoring the show and this is our livelihood. Well, then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, what we say, if all of a sudden they're going to say, hey, we're pulling our sponsorships from you, you crossed the line.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden that hurts.
Absolutely,
and all of a sudden you're going to start to censor us, right?
So
our goal is to never be censored when it comes to any of this.
KPMG, Callaway. See, that's what sucks.
The Callaway pausing is still...
that's just weak.
I sit there and I'm like, wow, you're still going to say just you're pausing. Because instead of just backing Phil and saying, you know what, screw it. Hey, PGA Tour, if you got a problem with us, so be it.
Yeah.
We're a big enough powerhouse. But
that's where PXG, I think, would come in, pick him up.
That's not a bad call.
Good old
Bobby Parsons.
I guarantee you he would love that. He would love it.
Because that's a polarizing figure right there in and of itself.
Think of those two together.
That's a
But I love Callaway, though. I love Callaway.
I wonder if they've ever had an interaction together.
Of course.
No, so I've always been a Titleist guy, but I told you, because you were sponsored by Callaway, and I'm like, listen, if Callaway ever threw over a sponsorship, I'm in. Because I love their business model. I love their clubs. I used to play the big bucks way back in the day. Well, I mean, the driver now, what is it? They claim it's built off of AI.
Well, look at this. Callaway came out with a carbon fiber driver that I used in final stage of Q school. It was called the C4.
Yeah, I had that exact
2002. I put that
was a great driver.
Bag.
It sounded weird though.
It was carbon fiber though.
It was just a dead sound.
Yeah,
didn't go a long way, but it was great for accuracy.
I'm trying to remember. That was 2002 final stage, the year my brother won finals, and then I got on the buy.com back then. That's how I'm dating myself. But I remember hitting it and hitting it and hitting it.
By the way, that's what I tried for the DC Open.
Inside, that is. Remember all those cool cars. But the ring inside came loose. And it sounded like a baby rail. But I think they came up with it first.
For sure they did.
First.
I mean, it's just...
I love TaylorMade.
It wasn't a strong enough...
They've always helped me.
...piece of material at the time.
Yeah.
As they started to progress and look at further metals and so forth, there's other metals that took the cake that all of a sudden, because we went from...
But how do you do twist face and carbon? How do you do the twist face on the face?
I think it's easier to because it's woven, right? Carbon is woven.
I put it up on my LinkedIn page how they make it, how they made the driver, the actual head, and it's unbelievable the physics that go into these.
Listen, I can get an engineer to come onto the show and to explain some of this stuff
The way
to us. But my God,
way they did it was incredible.
I will
love
not.
TaylorMade.
Even after getting a full explanation, there's no chance that I'm going to know how in the hell this works.
I don't get it. But
I don't either.
It's like 4 pieces. It's so incredible how they do it. It's just nuts. How they I don't get it.
I love that you're talking about it, because the one memory that comes to mind when I was playing that club was
we're talking about the C4?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In 2002, I was a senior in high school. I was graduating that year, and actually, go
road.
I don't even want to know. Our audience probably wants to know, but we'll save that for season 2. Now, also,
Should have stayed in the hotel room is what I should have done.
I loved as a junior golfer, since you brought this up, match play. And
me
it's
too.
one of my favorite things, because obviously, if you listened to the beginning of the podcast last week,
Yep.
I shared a story about how I got into golf, but later on, later on in life, which, granted, 13 years old, when you start saying later on in life, start playing golf at 13, and I was playing every other sport imaginable and had to give up sports in order to start playing golf. Mm-hmm. But match play was like the one that I was like, dude, you're standing next to me. I'm playing against you. And that, like, I played way beyond my abilities. I remember I was a terrible junior golfer, and yet I made it to the finals. No, it's fine. I was learning, right? Started at 13.
Yeah,
by the time I got to 16, I'm like, I'm 3 years in, and I'm starting to play against kids that could, like, shoot around par. Yeah. And so I'm going into these junior events, and all of a sudden,
I just got beat by Immelman. Yeah.
So I'm in an event, and I'm playing, and I'm winning these match play events against guys that I have no business playing against. Like, none at all. And I get into the championship, and obviously I finally get beat, because the moxie only lasts for so long.
Sure.
But what do you think about WGC with the match play event? Should there be more of them?
Yes.
You love it?
I want 2 more events. I'm looking at the boards here. Spieth wins, but that's his home court. Justin Thomas lost today to Luke List.
No, come on.
Yeah.
JT.
Yeah, Patrick Reed lost. Finau lost against Lucas Hubert.
Herbert? No.
Herbert.
Is it Herbert?
Never heard of him. Ibrahim Answer did win against Jerry
that's
Watson.
A player. No, that's a player. That's a player.
He beat Jerry Watson, and people don't call him Jerry because that's his real name.
Oh,
so I only call people by their birth name. So Jerry lost today, and there's, Berger lost. It's crazy.
It is, but it's kind of like March Madness. So
Dustin 3-2.
Do you like the fact that this goes on during March Madness for basketball?
Yes, because it's another thing to bet.
Yeah,
Patrick Reed lost.
I agree. I think it ties in the whole spirit of March Madness and everything.
We need 2 a month. I just wish 2 this month.
So I'm going to throw out a hot topic here, which
please.
I wish that there was still. And by the way, if I'm not mistaken, that there used to be major championships that were match play based. Am I wrong on that?
I think there was one at La Costa.
Like way back when. Yeah. So there used to be a match play.
At La Costa.
So I wish that for the 5th major, instead of the players, that there is and I just thought of this. I'm like, there should be a major championship that's match play based.
I agree.
I mean, how cool would that be? I mean, we've only gotten it a couple times with playoffs to where, like,
but it has to be like the top 10 or top 12.
Yeah, but think about Tiger versus Rocco Mediate. How freaking great was that open? Everybody on Monday. Nobody worked on Monday.
I was there.
You looked at productivity numbers across corporations, and they dove 90% because everybody watched Tiger versus Rocco Mediate at Torrey Pines, at the U.S. Open, Tiger on a broken leg. Like, how's Tiger going to survive an additional one? Probably a couple of painkillers and a cortisone shot. And so, but still, that's
GH.
nasty.
Yeah. No, I was there.
Oh, wow. Another hot take from Mr. Mikey Perez. You're not going to get those past me. I know when those hot takes come in and where you're starting to throw in a little bit of planting here.
I get it.
Wow.
That was pre-drug testing.
So I've heard that.
How did VJ win all those events that year?
I've heard.
Do you see him on the range anymore for 8 hours? There's only one way to do it. 2 ways. 2. Hey, Utah.
It got real quiet. Is the mic still on?
Give me 2, yeah. Check.
No, I mean,
you never know.
You're spot on. There's a lot.
I know I'm spot on.
There's a lot of talk that's gone on before drug testing and everything that has taken place.
You know what? This is stuff our body produces.
But the one thing that I've always heard about HGH, because I've always been intrigued by it, and I've never been able to get my hands on it, which is why I'm still not playing, is that HGH allows you to continue to compete. Like, it allows you to continue to train. So when you bring up, and for the people that are novices out there that are like, wait a second, why does it matter that VJ Singh is not on the range anymore? We're not claiming that VJ is or anything like that. And it doesn't make you big, by the way, either. But from what I've heard, and clearly, if you ever see me in person, you know, well, that guy's definitely not doing any type of performance-enhancing drugs. He's got no muscle. And that's correct, I don't. But I will say this, that VJ was always a range beater, but that can only last so long. But that's actually a good example of what HGH can do for you. You can be out there and murder your body and then rebound immediately and feel 100% fresh again and go again and go again and go again.
Takes 3 to 6 months to kick in. You have to start it, go. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's not a steroid, just like testosterone, just like all this other stuff.
Well, TRT's big. I mean,
I'm
Joe Rogan was talking about that.
I'm a believer.
Literally, like how in his 50s now, that he still looks and feels like he's in his early 40s or late 30s.
It helps your body. I'm not ever going to talk bad about it. I'm not going to ever judge it because it's not a steroid. It's something for your body. If my doctors were to tell me that this is a steroid or something like that, then I would have a legitimate argument. But there's nothing wrong with it. It helps your body. Who doesn't want to feel better in the morning?
Well, Roger Clemens sure felt great every morning that he woke up.
I think there's certain levels of it.
Which, as a Yankees fan, I'll just throw that out there. I am a Yankees fan.
I did hear that.
Roger Clemens. I mean, I don't think HGH should have been banned. I mean, that's just my personal take. Because it allowed athletes to perform better. And here's the other thing. It didn't, to your point, it didn't necessarily harm them from that side. Now, if it's straight anabolic steroids, we know the effects to that. There's enough studies done.
A lot of acne.
That you're going to deteriorate. It's going to kill you long term. You're going to have a shorter lifespan. But honestly, that's kind of a sacrifice that if you're an athlete too, if you're Jose Canseco or you're Barry Bonds or you're some of these guys that were juicing like crazy, or Alex Rodriguez, you're making a sacrifice to your craft. Yeah. It's what Bryson DeChambeau's doing without the drugs.
Oh my God, is this guy stupid? I mean...
Or really smart.
Both. From what I heard today, not to get off subject, but he should get on it ASAP, if he's not already.
He's destroying his
labrum. His labrum, I heard, in his... Was it his hip?
I heard the same thing.
Yeah, and then his thumb. His thumb. So, I had this...
So many golfers have had that thumb injury.
Ovalhoser, Colt Nose, Stads, all of them had the same thing. I didn't do the surgery. I just let it heal and I went to work. Yeah. Now it's all gone. But the people that Darren Angel, the people that have
if you give it rest, it can rebuild.
6 years. I took 5 years off, not by choice, but it happened after the big break filming. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then, of course, it fired back up again when Pat and I played together in the Children's Miracle Network event. And that was one of the last tour events I ever played. And that was
I'm just going to say this. I would love to see that again.
Oh. What?
Anyways.
The big break?
No. Actually, you know what?
Wait, I'm just saying, what did you do?
It's fine. MTV.
What did you do?
MTV does like not Survivors. I'm thinking of WWE. No, their challenges, right? And they bring back all the champions from years past. Why doesn't Big Break bring back all the champions to compete against each other once again? I think that would be a phenomenal show.
I talked to my buddy Daryl Marshall about that years ago, who I know is listening to this, who was the producer, who was actually one of the only guys on my side for the show.
Come on!
Yeah, but Daryl's the best. He's the one that, I had to do my interview with, and this is before I knew any of them. And Daryl was, my producer. He's the one that interviewed me at midnight after he lubed me up with everything in sight.
Well, he wanted to see what you had, right? Yeah, exactly.
He knew what I had.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, I do
love
too.
you, Daryl. Daryl, I love you. I'll never forget you for that. And, but yeah, they were trying to egg me on to say stuff. I go, you don't need to egg me on. I'll say it. Especially about Giuliani, that idiot. You want to talk about a moron. Holy Christ. Anywho.
I don't even know who we're talking about right now.
What are we talking about?
And I'm like whispering. I'm hang on a second.
I know, me
Who
too.
are we talking about?
Well, we were talking about HGH and all that stuff, and then we went down to DeChambeau, but his wrist, he really needs to be careful with his thumb and wrist thing because it's bad. I went through it. It took 5 years to heal on its own. I had to shoot it with peptides, which help it, which is it's a peptide. I don't know exactly what it is.
You're not a doctor. It's okay. You don't need to explain.
No, but I went
People can Google it.
I went through all my doctors, my doctor to help me, and I asked them, is this okay? Because I couldn't do it myself, and just imagine a big needle going all the way up and then doing it here too. Because I wasn't going to have surgery on my hand. I wasn't going to do it, so I went to work. That's why I worked at Toyota, Great Right Toyota. You mentioned in this ad, you'll get $1,000 off MSRP.
Oh yeah,
that is three.
Why don't you throw that
Honda,
in? This is pretty much. Wow, yeah, right.
Yeah,
well, this is for the Arizona people. So
yes,
go ahead.
Or in Huntington Beach.
Oh, there you go.
Or Claremont, California, not Claremont in San Diego, but the Claremont in LA.
Why don't you let them know what they're doing for our podcast audience?
Well, they're Jay Francis and the Wilson Group, who I've known for a very long time, who I was sponsored by. We remain close friends, and I spoke with Jay and the gentleman running the show, but mainly all I need is Jay and Vinny. Vinny from Right Honda, who's the GSM, said, if you mention this podcast and looking for a new Honda, you can come on in. We'll take $1,000 off MSRP,
wow.
Which is actually good right now because
so how about that?
Everybody is raising their prices on cars.
Well, there's a lack of chips. There's a lack of these chips. I don't know whether they're potato chips or computer chips or heated seat chips, but apparently in the car business, there's a lot of lack of chips. So if you guys need some chips in some cars that are actually functioning and need a new car, that Right Honda has
Right Toyota.
So mention the Pull Hook Golf podcast, and you will get $1,000 off MSRP, which, as you mentioned, is unheard of right now.
People are charging $5,000 over sticker on cars.
Exactly, they're doing dealer markups at all these locations, and
these are the two biggest dealerships. You've got it's a family-owned business.
That's
You're going to go in. I worked for both of them off and on since 2008. The owners are incredible people. The staff, they're awesome. Anything. It's no pressure, no hassle. It's just very simple. So, Right Toyota and Right Honda, thank you very much for allowing us this. Jay Francis, I love you. Dave
and if you need to figure out,
you, Vinny,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there,
right.
Mikey.
These are my boys there.
You're just telling people you love them, and I appreciate that.
I've known them a long time.
And here's the thing: if you need to get to their website or want to see what Right Hondas are,
is huge for us.
There you go. But also on the website, pullhookgolf.com. Little plug here for us as well. If you go to pullhookgolf.com, we do have a sponsor section, and you can go into there, click on their logo, and it'll take you right to their website.
Yeah, if you need your teeth cleaned with steel wool and toothpaste, this is how they come out.
I mean, there's only one way to get teeth done, and that's the way you got them done, Mike.
But steel wool and toothpaste. That's it. Steel wool and toothpaste. And Crest white strips. Crest white strips. Those are the three things. It's simple.
So we talked a little bit about the match play. I love it.
I do too.
I'm a huge fan of the match play. I think we should absolutely have a major. I mean, how cool would it be to have a major championship that would be match play based? Like, I don't know. I just can't get that.
What do we do?
Up.
Top 10, top 12? And the money worldwide, I'm looking at the leaderboard just right now.
Listen, if you want to have the tournament of tournaments, you go probably top 20 in the world.
I like it.
Top 20 in the world.
In the world, yeah.
Actually, the NCAA tournament does the top 64.
Yeah, it's too
or
many.
68. I don't know what because they've got all those playing games now.
But I don't want anybody to creep in.
Right?
You know what I mean? Like,
I almost want
this guy that won in Puerto Rico.
I almost want like 48. Like if you give me the top 48, that's almost the top 50.
Yeah.
And so if you give me the top 48, that plays down to where
I don't know. I like less.
Less?
I like the top 12 or top 16, something like that, in case somebody wins who shouldn't be there like this.
It would be a hell of a lot better than taking the 4 winners from the major championships and playing in this kind of luxury event.
We're going to have to pick, like, Will Zalatoris right now. 5-4 he wins. 5-4. This guy is no joke. Xander, thank God he won. 3-2. You know, I want to see...
No, it's hilarious. Throughout all the years, you bring up Will Zalatoris.
He is proving himself.
How many guys, though, have we sat here and said in our small little chit-chat and talk, man, if that guy could putt. Man, if that guy could putt.
Yeah, and he's still killing it.
And then you got guys like, sorry, Brad Faxon, but you got guys like Brad Faxon who you're like, man, if he could just swing a golf club.
Well, Faxon, I mean, who was, you know...
He made everything.
He made everything.
That was before you had to hit it super far in order to even compete.
That was before a lot of things. And, you know, I really think, what's going on with Brooks? Why isn't Brooks...
What's going on with Brooks?
What is going on with Brooks?
Listen, his Strixon deal is legit.
Do you like it?
I do.
Do you like the change?
I do.
From TaylorMade?
I actually like it a lot. Well, I'm not going to say that I like it a lot from switching from TaylorMade to Strixon, but I think Strixon actually has a really good product.
They do.
Do you know if he's playing the driver or not? Because that's always where it lacks. Always.
Couldn't tell.
It's always where it lacks. If you have a full sponsorship, like Tiger.
It's 14 clubs.
You know what's hilarious? My fiance, Alyssa, I'm going to give her a quick shout out.
You should.
Because she doesn't play golf.
Good.
And I was trying to explain to her about equipment and everything.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, and we were, somehow Nike got into the conversation. She's like, so Nike doesn't make clubs anymore? And I'm like, no. She's like, why? She's like, why? And I go, because they're terrible, really bad. And she goes, but Tiger played them, right? I'm like, why? How do you know that, first of all? Like, you've never played golf for a day of your life. And I'm like, yeah, he did play Nikes. And she goes, and he still won all those golf tournaments?
Yeah, they were Mizunos or Titleist with a swoosh.
Well, hang on a second. Irons, yes, but he still had to play the woods. And this is what I tell everybody. I'm like, he still had to play.
Did he use the driver?
Everything.
The blue one?
He had to. He even played... Do you remember when I'm not certain on this. Fact check me, please.
I might have to.
Sasquatch. I want to say that he played the square driver as well for like a tournament.
Christ almighty.
No, like he played all of their latest equipment. I don't know if they ever painted anything, because I know that I do know the story about obviously him stamping MP33s.
Well, the ball was completely different too.
Oh yeah.
Rory Sabatini made a great thing. Jason Gore made a good point.
Yeah.
This is years ago. Sorry, Gore, but we knew it was all different. It was.
Absolutely.
It was.
It was completely. He had his own made ball, which even today, by the way, all the pros have their bags of whatever golf balls.
He could do whatever he wanted. First of all, he could do whatever he wanted. It didn't matter.
He was just so much better than everybody. It's unreal. But he sacrificed, and that's what I have to. That's a public service announcement right there.
He's so good.
That like, if you want to sacrifice your life, yeah, you can be the greatest of all time.
All these guys out there
if you have the talent,
should be kissing his hairy beanbag because of all this shit that he's brought to the game.
It's why. I mean? How many golf tournaments did he play last year? And yeah, he still won the Influencer Award.
Yeah, that's a good point. $6 million for sitting there doing nothing.
Nothing.
And Phil got 4.
I mean, he crashed a Genesis.
Wait, he's got enough money to have his own driver.
He had a bone sticking through his leg. He had to get pulled out of the damn car.
I mean, what the hell is next? Well, what's next?
I hope to God
hopefully nothing.
I hope to God it's one more Masters.
Drink.
Yeah, drink. Fair.
I hope it's if he wins the Masters. I hope he's doing everything so quiet underneath the radar.
He is
that he's fine. Yeah.
No, and here's the thing. From one guy who I have a high pain tolerance, so I get it. Like he can deal with a lot of pain. Yeah, me too, because you would have been on the podcast at the scheduled time last week. But anyways, I digress.
Jack off.
I had to give you a shot there.
Jack.
You teed it up for me. Anyways, I told
Tough
you
day.
I told you pre-show I had a non-golf related story, and
yes.
This actually ties it in. So my fiance and I, we moved out from New York City. Before the pandemic struck. And when we moved out here to Arizona, like I had a friend base because I've lived out here before, but she didn't. So as we're looking to expand that, we decided to take part in a co-ed softball league, which I used to play a lot of baseball. Per our first episode, my dad was he's in the Hall of Fame for softball, so he also was a baseball coach. Pushed me very hard from that standpoint. Dad, shout out to you, buddy.
Hey,
but he also, before we decided to go ahead and do this, he gave a lesson to my fiance, who, by the way, had never played an organized softball game in her life and was terrified going into this. And she went 2 for 3. I couldn't have been any more proud.
I struck out like 6 times.
And she was terrified of like being embarrassed while she was out there. And I go, babe, what are you talking about? You're an absolute legend out there. Like, and she can hit. That's the thing.
Good for
like,
her.
My God, she can hit. We can stuff her in right field, whatever. But then, like, I'm playing center field to protect her because, first of all, we were all like free agents. They put all the free agents together. Like everybody else is like an organized team. So we go out there, and I'm playing center field. Very first hit of the game.
We're talking about softball, right?
Slow pitch softball, Arizona style.
You said center field, okay.
I'm playing center field, which we only have a right fielder and left fielder.
Gotcha.
And so all of a sudden the ball is hit into the gap.
Okay.
And I pretend like I'm not a person that sits in a chair all day and doing media. So I go running after this ball, make a great backhanded play.
Really?
Except all of a sudden I feel, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Hammy?
Oh no. My hammy completely popped.
The worst.
And I tumble, which apparently, my fiance is very critical of me. Alyssa will tell me how it is. So if I embarrass myself, she's going to be like, you look like an absolute jackass.
That's why you're marrying her.
Exactly. And we got home and she's like, even when you tumbled, you looked great. Like you knew what the hell you were doing.
So compliment.
And I'm like, wow, okay. But
nice.
I get up and I can't move. Like
No,
I try to like rub it off. And I'm like, all right, like I'm going to stretch it out. I'm sitting in center field. Well, all of a sudden I realized that I can't walk. Like I can't even, like, it was that bad to where like even my pain tolerance like wouldn't allow my leg to like move properly. Like I was trying, like I actually started jogging afterwards. Like right after it happened.
Jogging.
Yogging. But it looked like I was yogging. It was really bad. And all of a sudden, next inning, I'm like, all right, I'm going to pitch. And I tell the team, I'm like, I'll pitch, guys.
And you're right or left?
It was the right hammy. So the right hammy went first. So all of a sudden, I'm pitching. And for those who don't know softball and are just golf related, I apologize. But there was a dribbler in between me and the first baseman. So it was a soft little hit, right? And it's either me or the first baseman that's going to get it. But if the first baseman gets it, they're going to be safe. So I look at the first baseman looks at me, and I'm like, I got it, right? So I start like humbling over there, like literally, I'm stumbling is not the right word. I am hobbling over to this ball, and all of a sudden I go to extend to go down, and pop. My left hamstring goes. I go, you gotta be kidding me right now.
What?
I get the girl out.
How old are you at this time? That's
gonna
pathetic if you're in your 30s.
I'm gonna be 38.
Yeah, but how old was this at the time?
No, this was Monday. I can't walk right now. Luckily, I'm sitting in a chair. I told you. This happened Monday night.
Oh my God.
Yeah, literally
So
2 days
both of us
ago.
Can't walk.
I can't. No, like I'm in bed for the majority of the day with a laptop on my lap with ice underneath my hamstrings.
So between the two of us, we have one working leg.
Yeah, because my mother-in-law she retired as a successful physical therapist.
Oh, you're toast.
Therapist, and she gave my fiance all the advice as to like how I should do this and everything. But yeah, I'm like even today, 2 days later, can barely walk. So Tiger, I don't know how you did it.
You want to use my Theragun?
No, here's the thing. I looked it up, and I asked her as well, my future mother-in-law. I'm like, hey, can I use a Theragun? Because we have a Theragun.
Yeah.
And like that was my first instinct as well, by the way. Of
course.
I'm like, oh, just knock it out with a
Loosen it up.
Theragun. Yeah, loosen it up. No, apparently you can just really do more damage if you start hammering on an already strained hamstring muscle. The big thing that I'm hoping is that it's not torn, because at least it'll heal on its own. But like over 2 days, I'm not doing much better than I was day one.
Well, that might be where you need to go to Tree of Life Medical, or you need to go see Dr. Silver, who is an orthopedic surgeon who helped me with my knee, led by Dr. Gawley. So
wow, we're really throwing out the promotions here.
Well, Tree of Life Medical
How
has
about
changed my
that?
life. I'll tell you what. Tree of Life Medical has done a lot of things for me and my body, and I thank them all the time. But
So
you need
talking
to get
about
that fixed.
Oh, I know.
Because legs, dude, my hamstring, when I got my knee replaced, my hamstring is completely loose now. It's
Really? Loose?
yeah. Oh my God. This
You
is the
can
best
touch your
stuff.
toes? Because I've never been able to touch my toes.
Yeah. This has been a savior. This knee replacement. So you really need to get that looked at. That's bad.
I know.
You old fart. 38.
Really,
You might need to get some GH.
You're preaching to the choir here, Mike.
I'll check the fridge.
Now, we have a really good feel good story coming from a hamstring slow pitch softball story that I want you to touch upon here, because you're a little bit closer to this than I am. But David Leadbetter, I mean, with the whole Ukraine situation going on, I mean, that's a nightmare. Absolute, like that, it seriously bothered me.
It bothers me all the time.
Well,
what's going on?
It's ongoing, you know what? And I shouldn't say that it bothered me. It's bothering me.
I know it is. I get you.
It's just one of those things to where it's like, holy cow, it's absolutely awful. But David Leadbetter is doing his best right now as a philanthropist and helping out. So why don't you talk a little bit about what he's doing to help out that situation, even if it is just with a one specific junior golfer?
Well, this is a story that has not got enough credit yet, and it's been a couple of weeks. So what David did, and we talked today, and I asked him for the permission to talk about this tonight on our show, and he was so appreciative of us doing this, even though we're just getting off of ground and doing this. So, the kid's name. So basically, in a short story here, the mother brought the son over, who's a golfer. And I think he's 16 to 17 years old, and he won a couple events or something. And while this is all going on, his mother brought him over, and David Leadbetter and his family and the David Leadbetter school took him in.
Wow.
Yeah, and Mom went back to be with Dad in Ukraine.
No way.
Yeah, the kid's name is Misha Golad. So excuse me if I pronounce the last name wrong, but I think what David Leadbetter has done is so great.
That's
I
phenomenal.
think it's so great, and it hasn't got enough press. I saw, I'm not going to take credit. I'm not going to,
Yeah,
the rooster that takes credit for the dawn. You know what I'm saying?
Our audience might not know what you mean, but I know what you mean because you and I have had enough conversations to where I know what you mean. It's you don't want to take credit for the entire thing.
No, the Golf Channel did a thing on it this morning. I'm like, this is the first time we're hearing about it. Like, this should be that's a pretty big story.
It's a huge story.
Leadbetter used to be on the Golf Channel and all this and that. I love the Golf Channel and what they've done for me. Yeah, the Golf Channel and I, Rich Lerner and all the boys, we've all had things. But this is a story. Leadbetter and his group did such a wonderful thing. And this kid now gets to flourish. They took him to TPC, and he had backstage passes. I was going to say he had all the passes for the tournament at the Players, the tournament after that, and now he's under the wings of David Leadbetter. And so
he's under the tutelage of Leadbetter.
One of the greats.
So he brought him into his school. Now he's going to train him up. So
Correct.
Obviously a young golfer that has some potential.
Correct.
But at the same time,
got him out of Ukraine.
That's
he
unbelievable.
got him out of Ukraine, and his mom went back, and I really hope everything works out for
I hope
them.
we can get David on next week because
he does want to come on. He did tell me that.
I do think it would be great to hear the story from him as to, and I know how humble that he is. I've heard him in other interviews and
He's
so
amazing.
forth.
I met him, like I said, in the American Cancer Society event, and not met him. I've known him prior, but we haven't seen each other in a long time.
But didn't he do something for you back in August before the knee surgery?
Yeah, he worked with me a little bit. We were playing, like I said, at La Jolla Country Club in the American Cancer Society event, and he was the honorary guy there to help out. He went to group and would help out everybody, and this is a great cause. I'm a big fan of the American Cancer Society because my good friend Pat Sullivan from junior high to now, and his parents I've known for so long, he beat colon cancer. So they took out 6 inches.
I've had so much in terms of cancer around my family. Took my grandfather.
Took mine.
Has taken my grandmother. Actually, 2 of my grandfathers and my grandmother, and actually my second grandmother technically as well. So she also, it really does. So it hits home. And it's affected so many people that it's like, let's cure this damn thing.
Yeah,
so American Cancer Society, if you need anything from us, let us know because we're willing to help out wherever we can, whether it's events or through, just even anything that we can give back. That's what, the latter part to this show is always, and Mikey, you and I have discussed this several times, that we want to make sure that not only are we kind of sharing our unfiltered thoughts around the golf industry and everything, but also that we're doing it for a good reason and for good cause as well. That's
right. And the Gateway Golf Group that I'm part of, too, we do so many wonderful charities. Like George Lopez has his event coming up that we got re-signed to do for his foundation.
Also, let's talk about your dad.
Going back to Leadbetter real quick.
Okay.
In the American Cancer Society event, any charity event, I'm always going to do charity events when I'm asked to do them, and I always do them because I love doing it for the right reason. And the Sullivans, to my buddy Pat Sullivan, who is this year's honoree. I don't know if he knows it yet or not, but I'm pretty sure he does because it went out in the deal. So August 1st, we'll be back at La Jolla Country Club, raising money. Unfortunately, I think I saw Claude or Butch or some Harmon. I forgot which Harmon it is. But the fact that Pat Sullivan is going to be the honorary guy because he beat cancer, I think is wonderful to his father. And his mother, so it's a big deal, and I'll be there for sure, and look forward to that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
Good
just
news.
kind of
And
segue.
good on David Leadbetter, man. I'll tell you
Absolutely.
what. That's so wonderful.
I can't wait, and hopefully he comes on next week so that he can share
Him and
more
his wife and
insights
his
around it
daughter.
and everything.
Him and his
I
wife
would
and
love to
daughter
have him
are
on.
so amazing. They're amazing people. Thank you.
Now, let's talk about another important
Dad.
topic that also, let's talk about Mr. Tony Perez with Operation Game On. Now,
Yep.
there's an event coming up, and this, I'm going to let you explain it, but this is all around.
Masters Week.
Exactly,
And for our vets, mostly
Exactly.
important. So Operation Game On is going on our 14th or 15th year.
Wow.
We have two, yeah. And my dad started this with his partners and the board. And basically what we do is, and TaylorMade's involved, our coaches at Del Mar Golf Center are involved, Ted Norby. I mean, we have such a great surrounding for this event. 2 events a year we have. We have the 15-inch Cup Challenge, and then we have the main event, which is 18 holes, scramble, and then silent auction, all the stuff. We do it twice a year. This year we're having actually 3, I believe. So I'll be heading out to San Diego at Fairbanks Country Club again, is where we have it every year. And what we do is, what Operation Game On is all about is for the vets that come back that are amputees. So TaylorMade provides the golf clubs, and Del Mar Golf Center provides the lessons for them to play, and all of the proceeds go to them and their families 100%. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I was able to raise about $30,000 in the past couple weeks from people that believe in this, just for the foundation.
good on you, and good on for all of those donors.
My dad works
that
his ass off and
are putting
all
money
the
into
people.
it.
And they're all friends. It's a tight knit, community in Rancho Santa Fe and Del Mar and all that stuff. And
So
my
once
dad-
again, it's happening at Fairbanks Country Club.
April 4th, and I believe it's sold out, but you can still come to the silent auction part of it.
Well, you can always donate too.
And you can always donate. That's correct, and it all goes to it. It's 100. You know what I mean? It's a charity. We're, like I said, 15 years into this now, and one day I'll be taking it over, and with the board and all that stuff, and I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't missed a tournament yet.
Well, there's one guy that I know that does events really, really well, which is why the Gateway Group keeps having you come back.
Gateway
and
Group is great.
that is Mikey Perez. If you want a guy at an event, and this is, once again, a public service announcement, Mr. Greg Norman, on your Live Invitational Tour. If you need a guy, or you need a tandem, because the guy is going to be Mikey Perez. If you need the tandem, throw me into the loop here.
I wouldn't do anything without you anyway. So it's a one or it's a
until Greg Norman goes, there's $255 million guaranteed.
Well, then
and you go,
I'll
hey,
give
Matt,
you your
hey, Matt, it was
0.0001%.
perfect. I'll caddy for you.
Done. Deal.
I can't believe I just agreed to this.
No, you did. No, I'll give you 10%. 10%. On air, 10%.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks.
I'm not Matt Kutcher. I'm not Matt Kutcher.
Oh, wow. Taking shots. Mexico.
You
Wow.
dirtbag, cheap
Oh,
son of a
oh, no. Oh, dear. Hot take.
If I
Coach,
see that guy, I'll knock that grin off his face. That cheap.
I can't even. And I think that's where
And then
we're
he didn't give Sergio that putt either. Give me a break.
Oh, see that?
Yeah.
I saw a picture of you from back when, and you look very much like a Sergio Garcia.
Everyone thought it was when I was younger.
Yeah, so I understand where that personal
Sergio's my
attachment
boy.
comes in.
I love Serge.
Dude, how about Serge in a match play, right? If we're talking about WGC Matchplay, who has the greatest walk-off ever? Sergio, hole in one.
Yeah. The best. Yeah, that was on what? The par 3, it's only 152.
Yeah, it's short.
140.
It was tucked front left.
Wind off to the right.
Yep, and it played perfectly
Hazard
because
left.
He could play a little fade into the wind, hold it up against the wind, and then have it just come right back in, drop on, and spin back.
Against Lee Westwood.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep, and he patted. I felt so bad for Lee.
He worked so hard to get back.
Dude, Lee Westwood is
so good.
hard worker, and he's so good with a limited golf swing, in my opinion. And my God,
it's a follow through. It's just so much.
It's also the right shoulder from the top, and you're doing it right there. Yeah, it's literally that right shoulder.
And when
he comes down, you got to hold it on. You got to hold it, or else you're going to hit a pull hook.
Well, it's like Dustin. Yeah, a pull hook. Like Dustin, same thing. He's so. And then it just comes down with so much power.
Dustin's a rubber band, where Lee's a little bit more of a brick, and he just kind of comes right with that right shoulder, and he just hangs on for dear life. And when he's got it, he's got it.
Well, he can putt.
Well,
he can putt.
Can he?
God, I don't know. Maybe. You know, who knows? It takes 4 good days to change your life.
So we got through round 2. We're not even through round 4 yet, because we're through the second round, and I feel like we're going strong right now. You know, we hit upon a lot of great topics tonight. Yeah. We talked about Phil and the Masters. We jumped into the WGC Matchplay. We had a lot of topics in between that we bounced off of each other.
Our
then we
support
got into
from our sponsors. And
not only that, but Benji, once again, man, shout out to you and your family. Prayers go out. I know, obviously, you wanted to be on the podcast tonight, and
I'll be with him on the 4th. He's in my group, so hopefully everything's okay, and we'll get him on.
Prayers with you, man. And then from there, we talked about David Leadbetter and hoping to get him on the show next week to talk a little bit about how he's helping out with the Ukrainian kid, Misha, right? It was Misha?
Yeah, Misha Golad. Sorry, like I said, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but
and then with Operation Game On with your dad.
Yeah.
So that wraps up episode number 2, or what we like to refer to as round 2. My God, did we hit some pull hooks tonight?
We did hit some pull hooks.
I mean, there was we were trying to aim a little fade out to the right to hit the right side of the fairway, and my God, did it start down the left and hook.
Oh, I was starting left side of the fairway and trying to cut, and then I double crossed it, and
gotta love the double cross.
To left. And then I didn't even look. I just reached for my caddy and have him hand me a ball.
And if the situation happens with Greg Norman where he calls you up, then I'll be handing 10%. You that club.
And 10%.
Fair play.
Hear it now.
Mikey,
I love you.
Episode 2, we're wrapping it up. Love you too, buddy. Hey,
yes, sir.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to our audience. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, for listening. Yep. And find us anywhere on... Man, I'll let you go from there because I don't know. I know Instagram and
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcast, you can hear us, and also on YouTube, and we are also on social media. Our handles are Pull Hook Golf, except for TikTok, to which apparently the TikTok name, some kid was really smart and has about 7 followers. I give him a shout out. Hopefully we can work something out there. But we're Pull Hook Golf Podcast on TikTok. And we haven't even posted anything there yet, but definitely we're going to be all over social media. We're going to be on pretty much every platform you can think of. Yeah. You'll probably get sick of hearing the term Pull Hook Golf or Mikey Perez or Matt Cook when you hear us, but we're happy to keep coming back.
And our site's up. Our site's up and running.
PullHookGolf.com. So in our outro, I know we're going to give you that web address. And again, thanks, Mikey, for your time.
Matthew,
and look forward to round 3.
Yes, sir. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and have a great night. And
thank you for tuning in to Pull Hook Golf, the podcast. Make sure to hit subscribe and go to www.pullhookgolf.com for more information.